Hey guys, I ran over doing this video, so I'm going to get right into it. This article is on, I believe, Blacklisted News, and it has to do with Elan Kagen could reshape the U.S. Supreme Court. That's the name of the article. For the first time since it was set up in 221 years ago by American Protestant founding fathers, the U.S. Supreme Court is poised to have a bench without a single Protestant justice if Jewish candidate Elan Kagen is chosen. Now, I'd like to preface this video by saying that I am going to talk about faiths, different faiths, and I hope that doesn't throw people. Am I a bigot, or do I think? No. I believe you can have any religion that you want. I'm not talking about people, I'm talking about systems of worship, okay? Systems of religion. Okay, if the Senate confirms Elan Kagen, President Barack Obama's choice to replace retiring Justice John Paul Stevens, she will join 2 other Jewish justices and 6 Roman Catholics serving the highest court in the land. The thought of a Protestant-free Supreme Court bench was too much to bear for some. I'd like to offer here a lament for the passing of American Protestantism. American religion scholar Diane Butler Bass wrote on BeliefNet.com about Obama's decision to nominate Kagen, a Jew. There's nothing wrong with Catholics, nothing wrong with Jews, okay? There will be no one with Protestant sensibilities on the court. No one who understands the nuances of the Americans' oldest and most traditional religions and the religion that deeply shaped American culture and law. The United States was, after all, one of the largest Protestant nations in the world, she noted. Protestants currently make up the country's biggest religious group. Most of the presidents, our justices, our powerful people have been mainline Protestants, but that has changed, and we have an America now with a president who has combined Muslim Christian roots and a Supreme Court with 6 Roman Catholics, and that will soon be 3 Jews if she's nominated. Okay? Simply saying, friends, that this is a Protestant country with Protestant morals, Protestant values, Protestant ideas, okay, based on God's Word. Okay? Our founding fathers used God's Word as a principle. So many of the values and institutions in American public life came out of Protestantism. I think you're likely to see a change in those institutions and the cultures that support them as the religion of the founding fathers loses ground in America, he added. Okay, I'd like to read you out of a book now. I'm done with the article, and this book is called The Great Controversy. It's written by E.G. White. It's about 100 years old. I'm going to read to you from the chapter called Liberty of Conscience Threatened. Now, friends, I'm trying to make a connection between this, what I'm going to read here, and what's happening on the Supreme Court, okay, the highest court in the land. The defenders of the papacy declare that the Church has been maligned, and the Protestant world are inclined to accept the statement. Many urge that it is unjust to judge the Church of today by the abominations and absurdities that marked her reign during the centuries of ignorance and darkness. They excuse her horrible cruelty as a result of the barbarianism of the times, and plead that the influence of modern civilization has changed her sentiments. Okay, so she's stating that the Church wants us to look at her in a new light, not like it was in the past, where she killed hundreds of millions of people because they didn't believe in her dogmas and doctrines. The Papal Church will never relinquish her claim to infallibility. All that she has done in her persecution of those who reject her dogmas she holds to be right. And would she not repeat the same acts should the opportunity be presented? Let the restraints now imposed by secular governments be removed and Rome be reinstated in her former power. There would speedily be a revival of her tyranny and persecution. Okay, if the restraints of the government were removed. A well-known writer speaks thus of the attitude of the papal hierarchy as regards freedom of conscience, and of the perils which especially threaten the United States from the success of her policy. Threatens the United States. There are many who are disposed to attribute any fear of the Roman Catholicism in the United States to bigotry or childishness. In other words, there's nothing wrong with the growth the exponential growth of Catholicism in a Protestant country. Okay, that's childish, she's saying. Such see nothing in the character and attitude of Romanism that is hostile or to our free institutions, or find nothing pretentious in its growth. Let us then first compare some of the fundamental principles of our government with those of the Catholic Church. First of all, the Constitution of the United States guarantees liberty of conscience. Friends, that's precious to us as a Protestant nation, wouldn't you agree? Nothing is dearer or more fundamental. And Pope Pius VI, I believe, in his encyclical letter of August 15, 1854, said, "The absurd and erroneous doctrines or ravings in the defense of liberty of conscience are a most pestilential error, a pest of all others most to be dreaded in a state." Wow. Liberty of conscience he calls a pestilential error. The same Pope, in his encyclical letter in December 8, 1864, anathematized those who assert the liberty of conscience and of religious worship. Also, all such as maintain the Church may not employ force. So he's saying in his encyclical letter, which they say is infallible writings, that if you agree with liberty of conscience and you don't think the Church should imply force, that you're off your rocker and you need your head examined. Okay? This is what the system believes and teaches. Okay? All right, I read that. But Romanism as a system is no more in harmony with the gospel of Christ now than at any former period in her history. The Protestant churches are in great darkness, or they would discern the signs of the times. The Roman Church is far-reaching in her plans and modes of operation. She is employing every device to extend her influence and increase her power in preparation for a fierce and determined conflict to reign control of the world, to reestablish persecution, and to undo all that Protestantism has done. Catholicism is gaining ground upon every side. See the increasing number of her churches and chapels in Protestant countries. Look at the popularity of her colleges and seminaries in America, so widely patronized by Protestants. Look at the growth of ritualism in England and the frequent defections to the ranks of the Catholics. These things should awaken the anxiety of all who prize the pure principles of the gospel and Protestantism. The people need to be aroused to resist the advances of this most dangerous foe to civil and religious liberty. Okay, guys, I hope the connection was made, because there's an influence on our Protestant Supreme Court that is leaning towards this ideology of Catholicism. And friends, they don't separate politics and religion, because it's a geo-religious political state. And I hope the wheels are starting to turn, because I think we're headed into interesting times. Nothing against Kagen, nothing against Protestant, Islam, Catholics, Jews, none of that. God bless.